Amadeus makes the experience of travel better for everyone everywhere by inspiring innovation, partnerships, and responsibility to people, places, and planet. Our technology powers the travel and tourism industry, inspiring more open ways of working, more connected ways of thinking, centered around the traveler. Our open platform connects the global travel and hospitality ecosystem, from startups to big industry players and governments too. Together, redesigning the travel of tomorrow. Amadeus, it's how travel works. Visit us to know more, amadeus.com.
Welcome to the Skift India podcast as we delve into the multifaceted growth and evolution of India across the tourism domain. I'm your host, Peyton Doma Bhutia, and today we have an exciting episode lined up with Bhanu Chopra, co-founder of travel tech company RateGain. Today with Bhanu, I will be discussing the innovative growth in travel tech, plus stay tuned to learn about RateGain's strategy to double revenues. Welcome to the Skift India podcast, Bhanu.
Thanks, Venan. Excited to be here with you.
Yeah, we are excited to have you, Bhanu. And Bhanu, you've spoken about the industry today being in a unique crisis where there are lesser people to do more jobs. So, do you think that this holds true even for a market like India? And B, is that where travel tech companies like you step in when such a situation arises?
Yeah. So, I think it's a pretty universal phenomenon, and India is very much, facing this labor shortage crisis as well. In fact, if you look at the attrition rates in travel and hospitality, specifically hospitality,
Hmm.
it's nearing
Hmm.
100%. And what COVID did is sort of added to the woes because the industry was shut and a lot of people sort of left the industry. And quite frankly, while the pent up demand has come back, the labor shortage issue continues. So while some people have come back, but there is still, if you look at the overall capacity, uh, in certain parts of India as well as the world, we haven't come back to full capacity just because there aren't enough people to be able to service the guests. So I do believe there is a huge amount of issue with this, and RateGain plays a pivotal role in digitizing and automating a lot of the workflow tasks that are associated in, especially in doing customer acquisition, customer retention, engagement, and wallet share expansion. So, we've been in the industry now for close to 2 decades, and I've also seen how the industry has changed its approach to technology, and from being sort of one of the least digitized industries, how COVID has sort of accelerated the need to digitize and use more of technology as an enabler.
Mhm. And moving on, India has embraced the digital age. We have about 22 national languages and countless dialects. Indians are also leading the global online community. They've secured their place as the second largest smartphone market. And we all know about the insatiable appetite for data and devices. And of course, it helps that we have one of the cheapest mobile data plans in the world. This demand for quick adaptation is also on the rise. And building these, technologies in house might not always be feasible. So, how has that opened up exciting avenues for tech companies?
Yeah, so not only are we the second biggest in terms of smartphone usage, now we've become the number one country in terms of outbound travelers. So the opportunity is fairly large for travel companies on focusing on India as a market, especially the outbound, and that's why we see a lot of the international players come in as well. But to your point about how is digitization creating more opportunities for companies like us? Well, look, what has happened is the consumerism of the internet has led to everybody being self-reliant and using technology as an enabler to buy and engage. So it's really created a huge opportunity for companies like RateGain, because as I mentioned earlier, we are playing at the forefront of enabling our customers really do that guest acquisition, whether it's through digital marketing or it's through connecting them to hundreds and hundreds of different distribution partners, um, enabling them on their pricing strategy depending on the demand and supply scenarios, um, helping them in doing customer loyalty and engagement through different platforms that we have launched, including chat GPT type equivalents of what we call Engage AI, um, sort of virtual concierge. So I think it's created tremendous opportunity, and we're sort of at the forefront of enabling our customers, you know, with keeping the customer at the forefront of it.
Correct. Banu, in this, I would also like to point out, but as far as travel is concerned, there has been a large scale participation of the government in managing technology. For some of the most used travel medium, like the Indian Railways, IRCTC, and Air India for some time, for a really long time, in fact. And that has also led to a very few names propping up in the travel tech scenario. But now, with Air India's privatization, do you see that changing and opening new avenues for travel tech in India?
Yeah, well, look, world is a much smaller place now because of the globalization that has happened. So I just don't see just the opportunity in India, but I see the opportunity for tech players to play on a global scale. Because if you think about it, RateGain, although originated from India, we are very much a global player because we work with all the top 25 out of the top 30 hotel chains. We work with all the top, car rental companies, the top 25 out of the top 30 OTAs. So there is a bunch of opportunity here at home, but there is also with globalization, with newer GTM models, especially for SaaS companies like us, you can really be operating on a global scale, and you will see bunch of companies emerge, from India for the world and not just for India. So I think the opportunity is immense, and the world is everybody's marketplace now.
Absolutely. And of course, Banu, while we've been talking about travel technology, I have to congratulate you on the recent appointment of Peter Strebel as your president for the Americas region. As you had mentioned that Peter is going to drive expansion efforts, and you've also got an industry veteran like David Peller as a board advisor. Of course, both of them bring a wealth of experience from their roles in hospitality and travel industry. I was keen to seek your insights into RateGain's strategy for kind of bolstering its presence in the enterprise segment within the Americas through such appointments.
Yeah. So, I think every company comes to this, pivotal stage where they can really scale up to the next level. And something that, given we are a publicly listed company, something that I've been sort of saying to the investors is that the foundational blocks at RateGain have been set, and we are in a very, very commanding position to double our revenues from here on over the next 3 years. And really, the growth levers for us are really threefold. One is to continue to penetrate the products that we have in what we call DaaS, distribution and MarTech. And very quickly, I'll talk about each of these. So MarTech is basically all around digital marketing, um, in areas of display, meta, social, how you tap all these different online channels to acquire more guests. And now we have the secret sauce through the acquisition that we did at Adara, which lets us know what the travel intent of the ultimate user is. And it's a very powerful end-to-end, holistic MarTech platform that enables us to, you know, gauge up or down different channels depending on the return that we are getting from each of these channels. Our distribution business is basically connecting, the hotel systems to all different distribution partners across the world as new ones emerge, and we are the partner of choice, especially for the larger chains. And our DaaS offering is, giving our customers a sense of competition. And recently, we've introduced new products there, which give customers a sense of travel demand, as well as in areas in certain customer segments, we've launched, a revenue management product as well. And so, as going back to my point about growth levers, I see continued penetration of our existing products into key geographies of US and Europe, which are very, very important for us. The second growth lever I see is as we move into adjacencies in these areas, will the ultimate vision of becoming one integrated tech stack that enables our customers to acquire guests, to retain them, and engage with them. So, some capability we've built already to realize that vision, and some we continue to build. So, really, second growth lever is continued investment in R&D and launching new products to fill some of these adjacencies and gaps that we have in our overall vision. And the third growth lever is really, as you have noticed, that we are an acquisitive company, and M&A is really a part of our growth strategy as well.
Yes.
And we've acquired now 4 companies, so we continue to look for opportunities that strengthen our dominance in key geographies that we work in, like the US and Europe, and B, fill in some of these capability gaps in our quest for building this one integrated tech stack.
Amadeus makes the experience of travel better for everyone everywhere by inspiring innovation, partnerships, and responsibility to people, places, and planet. Our technology powers the travel and tourism industry, inspiring more open ways of working, more connected ways of thinking, centered around the traveler. Our open platform connects the global travel and hospitality ecosystem, from startups to big industry players and governments too. Together, redesigning the travel of tomorrow. Amadeus, it's how travel works. Visit us to know more, amadeus.com.
Of course, when you talk about M&As, and on the topic of Americas, RateGain's acquisition of Adara also marked a significant milestone after you went public in 2021. So, could you also talk about how the acquisition fits into the company's broader growth strategy, especially considering Adara's expertise in travel martech and, of course, predictive consumer intelligence?
Yeah. So it's a very, very natural fit. So prior to Adara, as I mentioned, we did have a MarTech offering which allowed our customers to tap into digital channels such as the Meta, SEM, and social channels, where we would enable them to do paid digital marketing. What Adara did was really, gave us the secret sauce, because now we have travel audiences, travel cohorts, where we can do a much, much better job of doing more personalized targeting to people that have expressed that travel intent. So it leads to much larger conversions, and the depth and breadth of data that we have, is can be utilized in some of the other offerings that we have and make it a lot more compelling. So it has been a very, very natural fit on the customer side. There was a huge amount of overlap in terms of customers because RateGain, previous to Adara, worked with a number of these enterprise customers in all these different segments of OTAs, airlines, and hotels and car rental companies. And similar, so both companies had very, very similar set of customers, and there was a significant overlap. So now what it does is allows us to go to a customer and offer them a more end-to-end offering and be you know one-stop shop for them, which makes it a lot more compelling for them in terms of the interoperability that we are able to achieve on the different products that we are servicing them.
Yeah, and then of course, based on your latest earning call, where you reported uh, noteworthy profit, there's also the strategy to double revenues. And how are you going to do this through the upgradation of talent?
Right. So as I mentioned, as we look at all the three growth levers that I talked about, it is absolutely critical also that at key positions that we continue to either upskill or upgrade talent. And just like you prepare more, for giving you an analogy of managing traffic, as you build more traffic and you need more roads, more lanes. Similarly, as we scale up and look to double the size of the company, we need to add more capability and bandwidth sort of in all areas, whether it's our go to market commercial teams, our product teams, our engineering folks. So so we've been spending a lot of time in investing in our existing people as well, through a lot of learning and development initiatives, as well as in key positions, bringing in folks that understand the industry. Some people like Peter and David, who've been industry veterans, understand the gaps in the industry and how we can really play strategically to fulfill some of those gaps. And you will continue to see Piran similar kinds of announcements from RateGain in the upcoming months, because we are actually being relentless in ensuring that we are both upgrading and upskilling our talent, because ultimately it's the people that will drive this business forward.
That's interesting, and we'll be all ears when you announce those. Shifting gears, I just want to delve a little bit into how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the travel and hospitality industry. The adoption of cloud technologies and AI powered solutions is reshaping the consumer experience. So could you talk a little bit about how AI is, about the integration of AI in the travel and hospitality industry?
Sure. So I can talk a lot about, obviously, what you've heard recently is a lot of people are talking about chat gpt plugins, but generative AI and AI and its adoption by companies continues to be at the forefront, and the investments relating to developing the right solutions and access to the right data set to generate accurate and useful results continue to be constraining factors. So and a lot of these data models require a bunch of data, and we are sort of at the forefront of it because we have built our own AI powered data lake and travel intent data that I referred to from Adara, is which is suitably positioned to solve for a lot of these use cases across digital marketing and competitive data, helping companies control costs, while improving their outcomes. So we continue to explore a attainable and scalable way to use generative AI and track use cases that have commercial viability in our industry. We also are, deploying internally different kinds of AI tools that make us smarter in terms of our sales and customer success processes. Specifically, we are also doing work, as I mentioned, in building uh, AI based algorithms and doing pricing for our customers. So we look at sort of demand and supply patterns for car rental franchisees, and basis the demand and supply constraints, we are able to make recommendations on how they should price their product. Similarly, in our martech solution, we do a lot of work around social media marketing, and we using uh, different AI methodologies in both generation and curation of that content, and it's been very, very powerful addition to our portfolio of product suite that we have.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Vanu. That brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you for your insights and more power to you. We'll be waiting to hear more from RateGain. Remember to subscribe to the Skift India podcast on your favorite listening app for more insightful discussions about India's journey on the global stage. Thank you for joining us today, and until next time, keep exploring and embracing the dynamic spirit of India. Thank you.